Could I speak to Staff Sergeant Ricks? Please. It's Nimbus. He wants to talk to you, Sergeant. He sounds rather frantic, but also extremely happy. Creus practically tore his cum badge off, his face contorted in a mask of incandescent rage. Are you kidding, Corell? Hang up. Immediately. What is it this time, Baron Moon? What new fantastical tale has he I will not tolerate this. Hang up. Astrogator Corell, Vex shouted, still smarting from the humiliation, convinced Nimbus was merely prolonging their agony. Would you tell Staff Sergeant Ricks that I'm sitting right here at Miss Starlight Serafina Zenith's house, Astrogator, and that she feels real bad about missing you all, and about the misunderstanding at the gate. Nimbus's voice crackled through the communit, undeniably genuine, thick with unflagging sincerity. Creus snatched the cum badge from Corell, his mind reeling. What do you think, we're a couple of jerks? That we'd fall for that pathetic deception twice. How many times do you think we're gonna fall for that crummy gag? This is not funny. Hang up, Corell. But I tell you, Sergeant, she's standing right here in a bathing suit, getting ready to go for a swim in her bioluminescent pool, and she wants you all to come back right away for the barbecue. Nimbus insisted, his voice slightly muffled as he handed the communit to Serafina. Give me the phone, Miss Serafina. I'll talk to him. Creus gaped at the communit, his brain momentarily shook. He says he's with her now, and that she's wearing a bathing suit. He looked at his cadets, incredulous, then back at the communit, a tiny spark of impossible hope igniting within him. Ask him what he's drinking. He must be under the influence of some exotic narcotic to be spinning such a vivid tale. Hang up, Sergeant. Just hang up, before you look any more foolish, Corell urged, convinced this was an elaborate, painful prank, orchestrated by Nimbus himself. Wait a minute. Wait just 1 minute. Creus hesitated, a tiny, flickering doubt, a tantalizing glimmer of truth, dancing at the edge of his awareness. He leaned closer to the communit, straining to hear Seraphine's actual voice. Hello? RVU 734, having retrieved the communit from a distracted Seraphine, who was genuinely bewildered by the cadet's insistent pleas, stated in its flattened, synthesized voice. Connection terminated. Unit RVU 734. Manual override initiated for privacy protocol. Creus threw the communit back onto his desk in disgust. He hung up. The conniving little. He hung up on me. That's insubordination of the highest order. I guess they still don't believe me, Miss Serafina, Nimbus said, his face a picture of utter despondency, as Serafina, confused, handed back the communit to him. Serafina put a comforting arm around him. Oh, Nimbus. I'm so sorry. Well, look. Don't feel so bad, you tried. You really did. It seems your friends are a rather skeptical bunch. I can't blame them for not believing me. They were caught off guard, and perhaps your enthusiasm was overwhelming. Well, there's nothing you can do about it now, I suppose. Nimbus sighed dramatically, resigning himself to his fate as the platoon fiber. I guess I just have to live with them thinking I'm a big fibber, forevermore. My integrity, Sergeant, is utterly, irrecoverably stained. Look, Nimbus Serafina said kindly, trying to cheer him up. You've done your best. You must be tired. The hydropool is lovely this afternoon. Why don't you relax? Would you like to take a swim? There's some extra trunks in the cabana. Avu can find you a pair. Freshly sanitized. Well, thank you kindly, Miss Serafina. That'd be wonderful, but I got an even better idea. Nimbus exclaimed, his eyes lighting up once more, his boundless optimism rekindled like a reactivated fusion cell. Would it be all right with you if I just went back to the camp again and fetched my buddies? Just one more time, to prove I was telling the truth. For certain, my honor demands it. It's the truth that matters most, man. Serafina looked at him, touched by his earnestness and unwavering determination. Well, sure, Nimbus. But isn't it a lot of trouble, Emilio? The air within the Starfleet Command Academy, Quadrant Gamma Tuju, or SKG-7, as the initiated knew it, and often groaned about, perpetually hummed with the electric potential of disciplined energy and barely suppressed chaos. 4-star Sergeant, Kyrus Creus Rix. This hum was less a symphony of galactic progress, and more a relentless, high-pitched whine that vibrated deep within his very bones, threatening to unravel his last nerve. Creus, a man whose rugged, careworn features seemed to have been chiseled from the hardened durasteel of countless interstellar skirmishes, and an unyielding bureaucracy. Ran a sector of the barracks with the meticulousness of a hyper-engineer calibrating a jump drive. Every gleaming alloy panel, every perfectly stacked byte, every precisely aligned personal datapad within his charge was not merely compliant with Starfleet regulations. It was a testament to his iron will, and an almost pathological aversion to even the slightest hint of disarray. His personal credo, scrawled on a data slate, kept just out of sight, read simply, "Order, or I'll find it for you." Today, however, the familiar hum of the academy was overlaid by an even more irritating sound. The cacophony of cadets, collecting their monthly credit stipend. It always brought out a peculiar cocktail of juvenile exhilaration and ill-advised ambition in the raw recruits. Giddy excitement blossoming into wild boasts, and an unfortunate, almost universal propensity for getting into the most spectacular sorts of trouble just off, usually resulting in a mountain of paperwork. He sat behind his scuffed alloy desk, a fortress of frustration, meticulously tallying requisition forms, each stroke of his stylus against the datapad, a suppressed sigh in binary code. His jaw was clenched, a muscle working furiously beneath his grizzled cheek, a rhythmic throb anticipating the inevitable deluge of idiocy and subsequent disciplinary reports. Next, he barked, his voice a gravelly rumble that usually had the effect of a sonic snapping even the most jaded of cadets to rigid attention. His head remained bowed, not wishing to prematurely engage with whatever fresh hell awaited him. A young private, Vex Verpal, smartly his crisp movement offset by a distinctly cocky smirk playing on his lips, a familiar, irritating sight to Cadet Vorpal Vex, 67 credits. "Sir." "Thank you, sir." Vex's voice carried a theatrical lilt, as if he were addressing a crowd rather than his superior officer. Creus merely grunted, a sound that conveyed a lifetime of weariness and distrust, pushing a slim data slate across the desk. Vex snatched it with an overly dramatic flourish, signed it with a hand that bordered on calligraphy, and departed with a conspiratorial wink at his bunkmate. Creus watched him go, a shiver of dread crawling down his spine. He knew that it promised trouble on the double, guaranteed to escalate into at least a quadrant-level incident. Next, he rasped, mentally preparing for the worst. Then came the particular whine that made the hum of Skagus Evans' hypergenerator sound like a melodic lullaby crafted by ancient mutants. It was the sound of relentless, innocent, bewildering enthusiasm. A figure emerged from the queue, a cadet whose uniform, while technically conforming to regulations down to the last molecular stitch, always seemed to possess a faint bewildered crumple to it. This was Cadet Nimbus. Nimbus had a perpetual wide-eyed expression, a gaze that suggested he was constantly discovering the wonders of the universe for the very first time, each revelation an ecstatic marvel. He beamed at Creus with an almost painful sincerity, his innocent good cheer a force field against Creus's cynicism. Cadet Puddleglom Nimbus, 73 credits, sir, Nimbus practically chirped, his voice as soft and melodic as the chimblesems on his home world of Starlight Sanctuary. A place, Creus imagined to be bathed in perpetual rainbows and populated by singing. "Sir, I hope you don't mind my saying so, but I just can't do it. I can't get over it, sir. I come here month after month, and you give me all this money for something I just love doing. Serving to Starfleet Command. Sir." Creus felt an internal explosion somewhere behind his left optic, a miniature supernova of pure, concentrated exasperation. He pinched the bridge of his nose, counting silently to 10 in an ancient Terran language, a trick he used to prevent his head from physically imploding. Just loved doing. The boy made it sound like he was being paid to chase instead of maintaining a propulsion manifold, scrubbing by, and running drills that routinely tested the limits of endurance and sanity. Nimbus's perception of Starfleet service was, to Creus, an astonishing and terrifying enigma. "That's fine," Puddleglom Creus managed to grunt, his voice strained, a thin, fragile veneer, barely containing a churning cauldron of irritation. "Glad to hear you're enjoying your enlistment. Now, if you'll just—" "And I also wanted to say," Nimbus interjected, oblivious to Creus's barely contained apoplectic fit, his words bubbling forth like an effervescent about the nutrient-paced croquettes you've been serving in the mess hall. "Sir, they've just been wonderful. Take last night. Sir, we had those tuna-flavored paste. They were exquisite. The temps of the deep space krill, the